Good morning. Hi. You have already been just sharing a little conversation. I don't want to interrupt that, so I will ask you to say hello to your neighbor. But first, I'm Reverend Erika Hewitt. I am so honored to be your guest today while your minister, Reverend Tara, is away. My pronouns are she, hers. And I wonder if you would help warm up our space for some singing by intentionally turning to someone behind you or next to you and welcoming them and telling them how happy you are they're here. Hi. Thanks. Hi, Katrina. You don't have to. So sometimes when I teach a song, I have a microphone on. It's just a few inches. I think, Peter, they can't quite hear me. If you could. We're gonna let Peter work this out. All of your volunteers have been working so hard this morning. Sometimes when I teach a song, I like to ask you to learn the words in the moment instead of printing them. So let me just tell you the words here. I would feed you the finest of wheat. Would you say that back? I would feed you the finest of wheat and give you honey from the rock. And give you honey from the rock. Raise your hand if you know where that comes from. Where? Right? Where does the language, I would feed you the finest of wheat and give you honey from the rock come from? Anyone? Psalm 81. So we're singing ancient words. I'm going to ask you to listen to me sing the whole first line and then have you repeat it back. And that's so that people who want to hear the whole first line can hear all of it before other voices start joining in. So it goes like this. Oh, I would feed you the finest of wheat and give you honey from the rock. Let's try that. Oh, I would feed you the finest of wheat and give you honey from the rock. Let's sing it again. Oh, I would feed you the finest of wheat and give you honey from the rock. I already hear you making harmony. Will you keep doing that? Okay, this next part of the song is very simple. because it's repeating those words. It goes like this. Honey from the rock. My voice is not warm yet. Honey from the rock. And if you need to drop it an octave, it's honey from the rock. Honey from the rock. Pick your octave. Let's try that. Honey from the rock. Honey from the rock. Oh, I would feed you. Oh, I would feed you the finest of wheat and give you honey from the rock. Good. Now, if you like to move your body, you can tell that I'm already introducing a rhythm. And if you don't want to bother learning or singing the song anymore, let us sing to you. We're going to sing this. I would feed you the finest of wheat and give you honey from the rock. Oh, I would feed you the finest of wheat and give you honey from the rock. Honey from the rock, honey from the rock. Oh, I would feed you the finest of wheat and give you honey from the rock. Shall we try it together? What we just did. Oh, I would feed you the finest of wheat and give you honey from the rock. Oh, I would feed you the finest of wheat and give you honey, honey, honey from the rock. Here comes the high note. Honey from the rock. Honey from the rock. Oh, I would feed you the finest of wheat and give you honey from the rock. Take that deep breath. Yes, welcome. Welcome to a place where we come to fill ourselves up with the finest of community and communion. Welcome to this Bread Sunday. Again, I'm your guest, Reverend Erika Hewitt. I'm so glad to be with you today. Welcome to in-person worship and online worship at Allen Avenue Unitarian Universalist Church. This is a congregation of sages and seekers, people from all different ages, all different backgrounds, all different life experiences. So our stories here are not the same. The answers and the questions that we ask along the journey are not the same. But what we share here is a love of community, the desire to be companions to one another on the road of seeking, on the road of meaning making, and on the road even of heartbreak and joy. If that's what you long for and you are relatively new, we hope that you'll keep coming back and that you will make your place among us. We welcome everyone joining us by Zoom today. There's the camera, I think. If you are attending for the first time, please go to Allen Avenue's website, and there's a welcome page so that you can fill out a card and we can know more about you. A few things you should know. You have already seen our service will be different today. It's not easy that your minister's away. It's not easy to enter those doors and have things be different from what you're expecting. Many things about the service are different. Not just me, not just the shape of liturgy, but the fact that the announcements will be at the end. We will not forget. John will not forget. Here's what's the same. What's the same is the more open and curious we are, the more we can receive. What's the same is that our time together is more complete and meaningful if you silence your devices. Yeah, this is a good time. Even on Sundays, there might be someone who wants to talk to you about your car's extended warranty. What's the same is that if you're on Zoom, you can stay on Zoom after the service to connect with one another, and you, after announcements, are welcome to go into the foyer, go to the kitchen window for a cup of coffee, and to talk to someone you haven't talked to before. Yeah? Are you ready for things to be a little different? Can we find our way together? Will you take a breath with me? Friends, this table is set for you because you belong here with us. This table is welcoming you as you are with whatever you carry. And later this week, many of us will gather around the table with family and friends. And some of us will feel welcome and included and joyful and satisfied. Some of us at our tables will feel quiet tensions or stale patterns that we wish we could release. Some of us will have an empty seat at the table for someone whose absence we are mourning. And some of us will feel lonely at the table. We will not feel seen or heard or understood. And some of us will not receive a heartfelt invitation to join someone's table. But here, this morning, the table is set for you. And so we arrive in this moment and we invite the mystery, the source of love, the spirit of life, to join us so that we can soak in the abundance and the grace and the healing that we might need to take with us into the week. Will you take another breath with me as we let the sound of the chimes bring us more present? And the words for our chalice lighting, written by Pat Uribe Lichty, will be read by Katrina.
Thank you.
And I'll light the chalice. Will you read with Katrina, please?
Lighting the chalice. We come together with our tired minds and bodies, with our confusion and questions, our uncertainties and our fears. We come together with our hopes, our pasts, our passions, and our faith. We bring all of who we are, trusting that in gathering we will be renewed, and that together we can create the world we long for. Thank you.
I have a story to tell. If there are kids who want to come forward who haven't already come forward, I also have a request for some help. This service includes 3 readings, and I've already had Steve volunteer for one. Steve, would you like to come get your reading, please? And I'm wondering if someone who's not a worship associate or member of your Sunday services committee, because they work so hard, are there 2 other adults who would like to prepare to do the readings later in the service? If you don't have your readers, you're safe. Is there anyone who feels moved? Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. What's your name?
Troy.
Troy?
Susan.
Thank you, Susan. And Dexter, fortunately, has agreed to be part of a reading in the story. Can I give you that envelope now? Is there another child who would like to read? Or perhaps Emily will read this. Emily, would you be willing to read this when it's time?
Sure.
Thank you. All right, here comes the story. And Dexter, I'll tell you when it's time. It's almost time. Do you want to open it now? You can open it now. Once upon a time, there was a teacher named Sophia. And she had been a teacher for so long that she had wonderful, wonderful, friendly students who would grow up and still remember her with so much love, and her students loved her. And one day, she came into work, and on her desk, there was an envelope. And she thought, that's really weird. I wonder who this is from. There's no stamp on it. There's no return address. And when she opened it, she read it, and it said, perfect, do it again.
Dear Sophia, I will be around tomorrow. I wonder if I might stop by your house for tea tomorrow afternoon. Your friend, God.
And Sophia thought, is this a joke? No, none of my friends would play a joke on me like this. Is it possible that God is really coming by to my house for tea tomorrow? She thought, I better take this letter seriously. So when she left school that afternoon, she went out and she bought a new mat to put in front of her front door, the kind that says welcome on it. And she went to the store and she's like, I don't know what God likes to eat. Cookies maybe? Maybe I should bake some bread? How about both? Does God drink hot tea or iced tea? I don't know, I'll make both. Maybe God likes lemonade. Throw that into the shopping cart. So Sophia spent the whole next day cleaning the bathroom, taking all the 25 pairs of shoes inside the front door, shoving them in a closet, baking bread, getting out her favorite teacups. And she was so confused and excited, she didn't know how to feel. And then there was, all of a sudden, a knock at the door. And she thought, this is it. And she went to the door and she opened it, and it was the mayor of the town. Right, and Sophia said, hi, Mayor. I'm expecting a very important guest, but you might like to meet them, so why don't you come in and have some tea while we wait? And the mayor said, well, I just smelled the bread baking, so I felt like I just thought I'd say hi. Sophia said, yeah, come on in. So they had some tea and some bread, and Sophia thought, when is God going to get here? And then there was another knock at the door. And Sophia got up and went to the door and opened it. And there were some of her former students outside, kids. And they said, hi, Miss Sophia. We smelled you baking cookies, and we thought maybe you would share some with us. And Sophia said, sure, come in. I'm expecting a very important guest, but I think you should be here for it. And they sat down and had cookies, and just as the kids were giving some very important advice to the mayor, Sophia heard another knock. And this time she got up and went to the door and thought, well, I don't know who it's going to be this time. And there, standing on her porch, was the entire choir from church. Right? And they said, well, we saw that your door kept opening and closing, and we just thought we'd stop by and ask if you want to go over the music for Sunday. And Sophia said, you know what, come on in. And all afternoon it went like that. People would knock at the door, and Sophia kept pouring tea and lemonade, and people said, well, I've got some stuff in my car. Can I bring in the ice cream? And she said, yeah. And all afternoon it went like this until they had to spill over into the backyard. And it was such a joyful time of friendship and meeting. And at the end of the evening, Sophia thought, now wait a minute. I had a lot of people come to my house, but what happened to God? And the next morning, as she walked to work, she kept wondering, why didn't God show up? I went to all that trouble, and there was so much food and so many people, but what happened? And when she got to work, there was another letter on her desk. It looked like that. And she opened the note, and it said,
Dear Sophia, I had such a wonderful time yesterday. The bread was delicious. The cookies were divine. Tea mixed with lemonade is my very favorite. Thank you for being such a wonderful host. I hope we can do it again soon. Love, God.
How is that a story about hospitality? Oh, so many meanings. Let's hear three of you. I'd like to hear three of you give us a little midrash, little unpacking. Welcoming everybody, even when you were not expecting the mayor or your former students or the choir from church. How else is it a story about hospitality? Yes?
I don't exactly remember it, but there's that thing from the Bible about whoever, if you
Yes?
welcome the least of us, you welcome me kind of thing.
Yes, and also you may be entertaining angels unawares. The Bible is filled with this. Any other takes on this? Yeah, yes, go ahead, Mike. It sounds sort of like stone soup, that there is something, I would say, sacred about what happens when people gather and become something larger than themselves. So thank you. I hope you think about the story a little bit. Emily is going to begin the lamplighter process, and we're going to say goodbye to our children.
In a few moments, some of us will leave the sanctuary to enjoy religious education programming. But first, I invite our lamplighter, Dexter, to join me in the pulpit. A lamplighter is entrusted to transfer the light of the sanctuary chalice to the lamp and then go forth to RE spaces where they will light the chalices there. Dexter will now light the lamp. I invite those going to RE to follow the lamplighter as we carry the flame, expanding our sacred space.
We set the table, we extend the invitation and accept those who arrive and welcome them. We make space for people to find nourishment, and yet before we can take our fill, we acknowledge the hunger that we each have. And Troy, would you please come forward and read our passage from David Rico.
We all have many longings. Each of these longings reveals us to ourselves, showing us what we want, what our ideals are, what motivates us, what we are really about as humans. We can survive without the fulfillment of every longing, but we can't be fully human without having these longings. Our longings reveal what it means to be human, to love and be loved, to live a meaningful life, and to be free and to be happy most of the time, to grow beyond ourselves or other imposed limits. Our longings send us on a quest. We long and then we go out looking for what we long for. Our longings are not like heavy chunks of ice on our hearts, they are like flowing water in our souls. They find their way into all the nooks and crannies of our being. They build up pressure and let pressure out. They keep finding openings beneath the visible surfaces.
We all have many longings, and those longings aren't just about emptiness. The longing to love and be loved, the longing to live a meaningful life, the longing to be free, to be happy most of the time, the longing to grow and learn, these hungers are not rooted in emptiness, but rather in your wholeness. They arise from your inherent wholeness, the instinct to integrate the pieces of ourselves so that we can live more fully and so that we can live more authentically. As we enter into silence, a nice deep silence, I suggest or invite you to do a couple of things. Perhaps you will use our silent meditation to own with tender honesty a longing that you don't usually acknowledge, a hunger that you sometimes try to ignore or push away. Or maybe you will use our silence to have a silent conversation with one of your longings, your yearnings, and to silently offer your hungry heart some comfort and reassurance, to minister to your own heart. You don't have to hold still in silence. You don't have to stop from coughing. There might be some rustlings, but we're going to find our way into a couple of minutes of this stillness. So if you need to close your eyes, or if you need to get comfortable in your body and connect to your breath, please do that. And when you hear Dale start to play the piano, you will have a little bit of time to emerge back until we shift our meditation into song. So let us now connect with that still, deep voice, a voice of wisdom and of love. You may remain seated as we sing the 2 verses in your order of service that Peter will also put on the screen. loaf of rising bread can seem to take forever, right? It's always funny if you watch the Great British Baking Show. Steve's coming up to do the reading in a second. If you watch the Great British Baking Show, there's always this frenzy and chaos and mess, and on bread week, they just sit in front of their ovens. Yeah, it can seem to take forever, but 45 minutes to an hour is nothing in relation to our own lives and the scope of the waiting that we often have to do. As Steve reads for us, I'm going to invite you, if you feel moved to take an acorn and pass the dish along, and more will be revealed.
Is this on? Good. A reading from Lab Girl by Hope Yaren. A seed knows how to wait. Most seeds wait for several years before starting to grow. A cherry seed can wait for 100 years with no problem. What exactly each seed is waiting for is known only to that seed. Some unique trigger combination of temperature, moisture, light, and many other things is required to convince a seed to jump off the deep end and take its chance, to take its one and only chance to grow. A seed is alive while it waits. Every acorn on the ground is just as alive as the 300-year-old oak tree that towers over it. When you go into a forest, you probably tend to look up at the plants that have grown so much taller than you ever could. You probably don't look down. We're just beneath your single footprint since between 100 and 1,000 seeds, each one alive and waiting. When you are in the forest, for every tree that you see, there are no less than 3 million more trees waiting in the soil, fervently wishing to be. Every beginning is the end of a waiting. We are each given exactly one chance to be. Each of us is both impossible and inevitable. Every replete tree was first a seed that waited.
So often, the process of waiting seems like inaction. It seems like doing nothing. And what I love about those words by geobiologist Hope Yaren is the reminder that waiting is about sacred opportunities. It's about the unfolding of ourselves into something bigger that we could have imagined. So the question that you might take into the week is, what are you waiting for or hoping for? I speak Spanish, and one of my favorite things about Spanish is the way that verbs can mean, the same word can mean a bunch of different things depending on context and verb form. The word esperar in Spanish means to wait, and it also means to hope for. And sometimes the context makes it clear which one it is, and sometimes it's just like the same word, esperar, to wait and to hope for. So, what seed of hoping or waiting is alive in you? And you might just hold that acorn as a reminder that we are each given exactly one chance to be, and that each of us is both impossible and inevitable. And for all that you are, for all that you have done and all that you have traveled on your journey, there is still more inside you, waiting to grow and to become. We will now invite John forward. Thank you, John.
We moved it there. Hi. We are a freely gathered, open, and welcoming faith community supported by your contributions. Each week, 1/3 of our offering is given away to a nonprofit organization whose mission aligns with our Unitarian Universalist values. This month's Share the Plate recipient is My Place Teen Center, a free year-round after-school program in Westbrook, offering comfort, meals, resources, and hope for kids aged 10 through 18. You can find more information in your order of service. Donations can be made now as the basket is passed through the donate button on our website, or if you are a member on Breeze. If giving through Breeze, please note if your donation is your pledge or a gift to our Share the Plate. If you are visiting us for the first time this morning, please know that your presence is your gift to us. At this time, our offering will be collected and gratefully received.
Religious community is about the power of the whole, transcending its individual members. And so before we break bread and share bread together, as companions and as community, we pause for a blessing.
When I begin to bless this food and close my eyes, I lose myself first just in green. How do leaves grow themselves this green? And how do they grow at all to be so large? And how do they make themselves from soil, which in itself is only brown? And sunlight helps, and water. But how is the end of this green? How can I bless this food? It blesses me. Thank you, I say, for this bowl, which is also field, this green, which is meal before I eat. Thank you, I say, that this green becomes me. Thank you for mysteries, this life.
How can we bless this food? It blesses us. Thank you, we say. Thank you for mysteries, this life. So as this bread is passed among you, and I'll just let you know, the little corn muffins are gluten-free. The brown multi-grain bread is vegan. It is my fault, and I'm sorry, there is no vegan gluten-free. If you need gluten-free that has not been touched by anything with gluten, it's in this white bowl. You are welcome to raise your hand, and I'll bring this to you. As Dale plays, and as this bread is passed, take a moment to pause and say thank you. Thank you to the earth, or thank you to the bread, or thank you to the person with you, or thank you to the holy, or whatever thank you you have in you that is vibrant and authentic. I invite you to receive the bread as Dale plays and as the choir comes forward. Go ahead and eat when you're ready. Our closing hymn is Lady of the Season's Laughter. It's number 51. And please know that this bread will be up here after the service if you would like some more. Would you rise in body or in spirit for hymn number 51? You are held in steady mercy. All of your longings, all of your waiting, all of your becoming. May you remember in the days ahead that grace surrounds you and upholds you and guides you on. And as we extinguish this flame, we carry forward our commitment to extend that grace to everyone around us, beginning with ourselves. Go in peace.
Announcement time. Hi, everybody. I'm John Howard, and we have two brief announcements, and then our Artisan Fair team will be making their usual pitch. So, and I'm sure you're all eager to get out into this wonderful day, so I'll be quick about it. Transgender Day of Remembrance. By recent count, at least 40 transgender or gender variant lives have been lost in the United States this year, 2023, which is probably a very low count because of all the ones that don't get reported. So the UU Church in Brunswick is having a special ceremony on 6:30 p.m. Tomorrow, Monday. And it is being supported and put on by various organizations and churches, including this one. Next Saturday, traditionally the Saturday after Thanksgiving, this place will be transformed into a holiday environment with a big wreath and lots of garlands and other decorations. And you're welcome to come and help us do that, 10 o'clock till about 1 o'clock on Saturday. And now I'll introduce Celeste and Terry.
Two weeks,
13 days.
just so you know. So, our wonderful, wonderful holiday artisans market fair, whatever you want to call it, is 2 weeks from yesterday. And I know you're busily baking and canning and
Painting and knitting.
and knitting and
Sewing.
making jewelry and doing all kinds of things and getting ready. So I want to point out, we would like to point out, yes, you should be making a gift basket. It might be about cats or about dogs
Or a color, red, everything red.
everything. That's a great idea. What a good idea. Yeah. So bring everything that you are making, whether it's for the cafe, which would be soup or sandwiches or cookies or brownies or anything like that. Fine Foods, John Howard in charge of that. If you want to ask some questions, I will be making blueberry jam tomorrow, just in case you need to know that. And other things that you are making for our Fine Foods table. We have a wonderful box filled with wonderful jewelry that nobody wants anymore, except we want it back when Reggie remakes it for our classy crafts. And I want to remind you that on Monday, a week from tomorrow, between 4:30 and 5, or whenever you get here, we're having a Needham making party.
We're dipping.
And we would love to have you. So Celeste and I and Betsy were at Betsy's house making all the centers for the Needhams this last week. They are ready to go. And we're going to be dipping chocolate and making boxes and wrapping them up and putting stickers on. And we'd
And
love to have you.
bows, too.
And bows.
Ribbons and bows.
Ribbons, bows, stickers, stuff like that. It's going to be really fun. So please do join us for that and let us know if you're coming or just come. The children's room, wonderful Audrey Williams in the back there is in charge of that. Please tell your friends with children they can leave their children in there and come and shop and have a wonderful time, and their kids are going to have a blast. Please tell everybody to do that. She has wonderful craft projects ready. And I am particularly looking for my setup crew, if you have signed up or not yet signed up. Friday morning at 11:30 on the day before the fair, I need a crew to spread tablecloths and put little tally sheets on cards and do kind of fun small group stuff like that. So please let me know if you're available then. The Thursday afternoon, we'll be setting up our tables. Jerry and
Norman.
Steve Harris and Norman and other people are going to be up on the ladders hanging our signs from the ceiling. So this is a group effort. It's loads of fun. Bring your money. Come shop on Saturday.
We take plastic, too.
We do. We do. We take plastic, we take checks, we take cash, we take everything. And spread the word, and thank you for everything you are doing.
Thank you.